Yeah, so this is kind of important because it has other implications. So right now, I want to talk to you about how to get a business credit card without a social security number. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous if you're to ask me if you are doing as great as I am. Go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about how to get a business credit card without a social security number. And the thing here is that first let's talk about, let's answer the question. Can you really get a business credit card without a social? In most cases, you cannot get a business credit card without a social. Some business credit cards require a personal guarantee, which means what? That you personally become responsible for any debt that your business cannot pay off. This is why credit card issuers often check your personal credit before issuing you a business credit card. And in order to perform a hard credit inquiry on your personal credit, they need your social, right? Now, one thing I want to say here is that if you don't have a social, you will have to fill out a great deal of paperwork and go through some bureaucracy. Even after that, you may still have a difficult time finding a business credit card lender that will approve your card without a social. So when you get a business credit card without a social security number, you can actually think of yourself as very lucky. One thing I want to clarify here is that there are business credit cards that you can get without a social, and I'm going to elaborate on those cards in today's show. One element that's very important when we talk about getting a business credit card without a social is an EIN. So EIN stands for Employer Identification Number. This is basically a 9-digit tax identification number assigned to sole proprietors, corporations, partnerships, estates, trusts, employee retirement plans, and other entities for tax filing and reporting purposes. And this number works almost like a social security number for your business. So if you want to add an EIN to your small business, the IRS recommends that you apply for the number on the internet. So there are actually three very simple steps you need to follow. So you need to determine whether you are eligible for an EIN. So your principal business must be located in the United States or U.S. territories, and you must have a valid tax identification number, a TIN, in order to apply for a new EIN. And you need to complete the application in one sitting. And once you do that, you submit your application. And you'll get your EIN immediately after completing the application. And then you can download, save, and print your EIN confirmation notice. So what I'm trying to say here is that the credit cards that require no social generally want you to have a TIN, so a TIN or an EIN, a tax identification number or an employer identification number. And the federal government originally created social security numbers in 1936 as a way to track income and years worked for the purpose of administering social security benefits. And what happens here is that during World War II, the government expanded the application of social security numbers by using them as a way to identify individuals in the databases of federal agencies. Okay, but since then, the social security number has actually become a widespread method of uniquely identifying individuals for various purposes, and such as verifying the identity of workers, taxpayers, and driver's license applicants. Okay, so U.S. credit rating agencies use your social security number to track your credit history. So here I'm referring to TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. And this is why most credit card providers require you to include your social security number when submitting an application. And why should you get a business credit card without a social security number? It really depends. There are three main scenarios. So although credit providers normally require a social, you may face a number of situations where you wish to apply for business credit cards without a social security number, right? Some typical scenarios include you're doing business in the United States as a non-citizen and you're not eligible for a social security number. you are applied for you have applied for a social security number, but you haven't received one yet, or you have a social security number but you avoid sharing it more than necessary because of privacy and security concerns. So if you are encountering any of these three situations, you may be wondering if there is a way for you to obtain a business credit card with no social security number. And the answer again is yes, you can. And there are some major benefits of business credit with just EIN or TIN. Some people want to apply for a business credit card with an EIN or a TIN instead of a social security number because they don't want their personal credit score to affect their eligibility for a business credit card. And that makes sense, right? Especially if you have I would say a less than stellar credit. You want to really increase your chances of getting the card, the business card. And other people want to keep their personal and business finances separate. Again, that makes sense. And to keep also any potential business finance issues from adversely affecting their personal credit. And and you might ask, why would a business's financial difficulties affect your personal credit? Two reasons, folks. First, applying for a business credit card that requires a personal guarantee means that what? It means that you will be personally, and this is an important element, you'll be personally responsible for any balances added to the card. Okay, personally responsible. This includes credit card debt that your business cannot afford to pay off in full. So that's the first reason. The second reason is a little more complicated. Business have credit scores just like individuals do. And in some cases, lenders will report small business credit card activity to both the Business Credit Bureau and the personal credit bureaus. So this means that your business credit card could appear on your personal credit report. And again, the danger here is, and it's not a big danger, but it is a danger anyway. The danger here is that if you miss a payment on your business credit card or run up high credit card balances during low cash flow months, your business credit card activity could hurt your personal credit score. Think about it. Imagine you're having a hard time at work. You know, cash is kind of tight at work, and you are just having some liquidity issues at work. And at the same time, you are trying to buy a house with your spouse. Now, the problems, the temporary problems you have at work, those are temporary. Those are cyclical. Those are seasonal. But that shouldn't affect your ability to buy a house. Right? So this is the kind of correlation I want you to think about here. So, and because what it means in reality is that when you are considering the benefits of business credit with just an EIN, the biggest benefits is not having to mix your personal and business finances. And this is an important element. I'll be right back, but after this, don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. We are having a conversation today about how to get a business credit card without a social security number. And so now I really want to get a little more in detail here. So how do you apply for a business credit card without a social? So what are the documents required? So to apply for a business credit card without a social, you need another form of identification as a substitute, right? So you can then use this form of identification to apply for an EIN. So with your social security number substitute and your EIN, you can then apply for a business credit card. So two main forms of identification can serve as an alternative to a social security number. So you have an individual taxpayer identification number, an ITIN, and a passport. So there are two methods. There are two ways to play this. The first method is you want to obtain an individual taxpayer identification number. So a standard alternative to a social security number is an ITIN. So this is a tax processing number used by the IRS for individuals who are required to have a U.S. taxpayer identification number, but don't have or are not eligible to obtain a social. And examples of individuals who need to obtain an ITIN include non-resident aliens required to file a U.S. tax return, U.S. resident aliens filing a U.S. tax return, dependents or spouses of a U.S. citizen or a resident alien, dependents or spouses of a non-resident alien visa holder, and non-resident aliens claiming a tax treaty benefits. And also you have non-resident alien students, professors, or researchers filing a U.S. tax return or claiming an exception. So the thing here is that you can actually apply for an ITIN with the IRS by filing Form W7, okay? And so once you have an ITIN, you can apply for an EIN. So an EIN, as I said earlier, is kind of similar to a Social Security number or ITIN, but it is used for businesses rather than individuals. So you are eligible to apply for an EIN online, and this is only if you are the person ultimately responsible for owning or controlling your business. Your principal operational business is located in the United States or U.S. territories, and you have a valid taxpayer identification number. And so that's the first part. The second part is just obtain a passport. Okay, another form of identification some credit card providers accept instead of a social is a passport. For example, Bank of America accepts passports as identification for certain business credit cards. So you can apply for a passport from the U.S. Department of State, and you will need to submit supporting documents and a photo ID and pay a fee. And one thing I want to say here is that what are the steps, the concrete steps to apply for a business credit card with no Social Security number? So after applying for this kind of card involves, in general, 5 steps if you want to do it right. First, you want to research credit card providers. You need to know because not all of them accept applications from individuals without a Social Security number. So you want to research credit card providers. You want to assemble your required identification. You want to get your employer identification number. You want to assemble any other required documentation, and you need to submit your application. Simple as that. So in terms of research the credit card providers, you need to know exactly what kind of requirements they have, right? So you need to ask them. You need to ask the issuers who will accept passports or who will accept ITINs, or you need to just have an idea of the kind of documentation they are asking. And once you have that information, the next step is to assemble the required identification, right? You need to have your passport, your ITIN, your EIN, whatever you need to get. You need to have it ready. And go on the internet, go to the IRS's website, and get your EIN. If you already have an EIN, this is a simple matter of getting the information handy. So if you don't have one, you'll need to apply. And this can take anywhere from a few minutes to a few weeks, depending on the method you use. So as I said earlier, for the fastest results, you want to always apply on the internet, okay? And once you have that, you need to assemble any other required documentation. So your business credit card providers may actually require you to submit additional documentations besides an ITIN or passport and EIN. For instance, we've seen in our research that you may need to submit recent bank statements documenting your business income. And so basically assembling all necessary documentation before submitting your application will save you, believe me, time and hassle. And once you do that, just submit the application. At this point, you should be ready to submit everything. You can apply at a bank in person, online, over the telephone, or through the mail. And depending on the method you use and the policies of your provider, approval may be instant or it may take days or weeks. I think it's a lot better for you to apply for a business credit card without a social at the bank where you currently are a client, because they already have your information. They see the movements, the inflows and the outflows of the cash transactions in your account. So they'll be able to evaluate properly what kind of financial situations your financial situation your bank has, or yourself, you as an individual account holder has. Okay. So one thing I want to say here is that what business credit cards can you get without an EIN? There are generally 4 types of business credit cards you can get without an EIN. And with only an EIN, because so the question is, what are the business credit cards you can get without a social? In other words, the ones that you can get with an EIN or a TIN. So you have corporate business credit cards. Those allow you to take on liability through your business. So you may be able to get a corporate credit card without a personal guarantee. In other words, your business is liable for all the credit card debt. So in some cases, corporate credit cards don't require a social security number, meaning you can get business credit with just an EIN. All right. And you have corporate store credit cards. So you can consider a store credit card, a corporate store credit card at a store you frequently buy from, right? Such as Staples or Office Depot. So some corporate store credit cards do not come with a personal liability requirement, making them excellent EIN credit cards. And corporate store credit cards often they will often offer specific perks like discounts on purchases, cashback options, and points and rewards. So that's pretty cool, right? So you have also a corporate gas cards, and this is a great option too, because those cards allow you to allow your company to apply without a personal guarantee. You can get the Shell Small Business Card with your EIN if your business takes in $1 million in revenue every year and has at least 1 year of business history. And then you also have the prepaid business credit card. So a prepaid business credit card is just what it sounds like. So you load a prepaid balance onto the card in advance, then spend up to that balance. So prepaid business credit cards are always low risk for card issuers and don't require a personal guarantee or a social security number. And prepaid cards are also an excellent way to help you track your spending while avoiding credit card debt. So the only downside to prepaid cards is that you're not able to use them to build business credit. However, they are a great solution if you have a low credit score and don't want to tie your personal credit to your business, or if you're worried that you might lower your credit score even more if your business doesn't work out. Let me now share with you some of the business credit cards that do not require a social. And so we have here, we have the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card. This card offers a $500 bonus cashback after you spend $3,000 in purchases within 3 months of opening the account. You can apply for one with just a tax identification number. So that's pretty cool. And then the next one, you have the American Express Business Gold Card. And this card is kind of cool too, because it offers membership rewards point after you spend $5,000 on eligible purchases within your first 3 months of card membership. And you can apply for one with an EIN. And the third card is the Bank of America Platinum MasterCard Business Card. And this card also offers a competitive APR, annual percentage rate, with no annual fee, plus a 300 statement credit when you spend at least $3,000 within the first 90 days of opening your account. And this is a card you can apply for with just an EIN. So now let's talk about the alternatives to business credit with just EIN. So we all have asserted now that it could be difficult to get business credit with just an EIN, right? So you want to consider some alternatives. The first alternative is to apply for a business credit card using your social security number. So this will be the best option for most small businesses and sole proprietorships. It may also be your only option if you want to start building business credit and take advantage of the perks and rewards offered by small business credit cards. If you are a small business owner whose business is not yet eligible for an EIN-only credit card, like a corporate credit card, your best move will be to apply for a business credit card with your social security number. Okay? And listen, I understand you will be personally guaranteeing any debt you put onto the card. And yes, your personal credit score could affect your ability to get business credit. The way you use your business credit card could also affect your personal credit score, depending on what information your card issuer reports to the 3 major credit bureaus. I'm talking about Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, right? Okay. The second alternative here is to fund your small business without using credit. So if your business earns enough money that you don't need to use credit to cover operating costs, for example, you might be able to keep your small business running without applying for a small business credit card. And this method will keep you from having to use a social security number to apply for a business credit card. But it will also keep your business from building a solid credit history and credit score. So it's something you have to think about. You have to think about the pros and cons here. And this lack of credit history that I was just talking about could become a problem if you ever decide to expand your business through small business loans or other forms of business credit. All right, folks, this is the end of today's conversation. I want to thank you very much for your attention. So I was speaking to you today about whether you can get a business credit card without a social, what is an EIN, why most credit cards require a social security number, why get a business credit card without a social, how to apply for a business credit card without a social security number, what business credit cards can you get with only an EIN, business credit cards that don't require a social security number, and last but not the least, I spoke to you about the alternatives to business credit card, to business credit, which is EIN. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.